Welcome back to Pump 200. Back to normal. World's fastest Bumpercar update. Right, so after all that excitement, what next? I mean, it's back level and that kind of stuff. Well, back to the steering, I think, since we've now got our rack mounting support system in place. We also have a new spindle coming, so we need to check that out when it arrives. And I think while I've got access, I'm going to tighten up all those hoses down there. Bolting things back on again, I suppose. Still just a little bit too long. Gonna take another inch off, I reckon. This looks good though. Yeah. And now we're bolting stuff back together again. We have a situation with the gear shift. I'm sure it worked before, but maybe it didn't. So here's where we had it, which isn't working because basically the lever there is fouling on the frame, so we can't shift one way. So what we tried to do was push that up, this boy here, and then mount it here, but then that brought the actual rod itself lower in contact with this here, so that didn't work either. So at this point I'm not quite sure what to do. We could move the rod to the outside here, which will give us a little bit more clearance up here if we then lowered everything down again. Might try that. I think it's just going to involve a lot of jiggery pokery, to be honest. Problem. The main issue we've got going on here, apart from clearance up here, is that the motion is this way, whereas in the foot peg's natural environment the motion was this way. So we're getting interference down here, so we need to modify this. We have a spindle with lots of possible adjustment factors. Shall we see if it fits? Well, fits in there okay. A little bit more wiggle room than the old one, but that's all well and good. This, however, much too big. So we'll have to find another one of those. Now let's see what it looks like in here. One castle nut. Well, amazingly, it actually fits in that bearing perfectly. It's massively long, which I thought, yeah, don't know what we're going to do about that. As you can see, substantial difference. Obviously, we can't space it out this end because then our track would be increased by another 2 inches, 4 inches both sides. Which we haven't got, obviously. So if we are to use these spindles, we will have to cut that down and re-thread it. Perfect. Actually, a little bit too short. All right, we've got a longer one. And for now, some fairly big ass washers. Yeah, I think that's thick enough. Interestingly, as you can see, the camber on this is completely the opposite as to how I had it before, because I figured we wanted negative camber, not positive, which is strange, because this is definitely a left-hand spindle, because that's what I ordered. Anyway, we can swap them around if we have to, but there we go. Yeah, unfortunately, it is not going to work, because obviously this bit here is also longer, so unless we modified that, we haven't got clearance. And actually, one of the main reasons for looking at these spindles in the first place was those multiple adjustments there, which were a long way off our steering rack situation. Although we could, it would mean that we could screw the heim joints back in more to attach to those, because that was the problem with our original spindles, that we just had that one hole and had to hope that it lined up in some shape or form, which it kind of did. Time to ponder the situation, I feel. Option number one, of course, would be to flip this so that this is on the inside of the chassis rail over here. That will give us back an inch. I think we need more than that, though. Much as I like these, I think they're going to require just too much modification to bring them kind of in line with what we had before. And the advantages are obviously that they're better quality. They've got more adjustment here. We can build that in here if we need to. So I think we'll revert to plan A, though I definitely prefer the look of those bearings. Yeah, I think they notice if we swap them out. But before I make my mind up, I think I'm going to try flipping these round so that they're back on the inside. So that will give us another inch, right? See what I mean? So like that, not like that. Like that. It'll mean drilling a couple of holes, but I think it'll be worth it. Because obviously we've got to flip that onto the other side. Like that. And of course the holes are back to front. Yeah, alright. More drilling. Okay, now mounted on the other way, and as you can see, kind of on the extreme, but does give us possible clearance. But what we've got now is fouling of the steering connector on the steering mount, as you can see there. That's easily rectifiable there. So it might work. At this point, it's a question of weighing up the pros and cons. We might have to shift the whole steering rack back a bit to line all that stuff up. We might not. There's all kinds of things to consider. Obviously, as always, I value your input, so please leave any ideas, opinions, etc. Down here in the comments. I think the main difficulty is going to be to cut it to that kind of length and then re-thread it, because that's a 17mm, which will take some serious re-threading, I think. Not impossible though. So yeah, let me know what you think down here. And while you're down there, subscribe if you haven't already, obviously. Give the video the thumbs up, of course. And I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, encourage others to watch my lunacy.